Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. I am using AI voice from this episode as it's more accurate than my pronunciation. Please feel free to let me know which way you like better. I've noticed that on Twitter, a lot of CCP supporters like to share videos of foreigners saying good things about Chinese police to push back against criticisms, like claims that China is a police state. But honestly, using foreigners' opinions to describe Chinese police is really not objective at all. First of all, there's a saying in China: first-class foreigners, second-class officials. Foreigners, especially white people, have always been at the top of the social ladder in China. They've enjoyed privileges that go far beyond what regular Chinese citizens get, except for maybe a small group of elites. And the police? They're basically there to serve these people. That's why you see stories on Chinese media like police digging through thousands of trash bags to find a lost wallet for a foreign tourist, or mobilizing an entire precinct to recover a foreigner's lost bike in half a day. Now, compare that to how police treat Chinese people in similar situations. Most of the time, they don't put in nearly the same effort. For example, earlier this year, there was a big case involving actor Wang Xing. He got tricked into a scam compound in Myanmar, and it only took 2 weeks to rescue him. But why? Because other actors brought attention to it on social media, and their massive fan bases turned it into a nationwide issue. The government had no choice but to step in. But before that, Wang Xing's girlfriend and brother had gone to the local police, and they were ignored. If you compare how seriously Chinese police take a kidnapped Chinese person versus a foreigner's missing bike, it's honestly kind of ridiculous. In China, regular people often deal with police overstepping their boundaries. For example, you could just be walking down the street and randomly get stopped to show your ID, or you might be forced to install some anti-fraud app on your phone. If you call a friend overseas, there's a good chance the local police might contact you right after, saying it's for fraud prevention. And if you ever get taken to the police station? Well, let's just say people often face some rough treatment there. Most Chinese people have a sense of fear or respect toward authority, so they usually don't fight back. And how do the police actually treat regular citizens? A famous example happened on November 27, 2022, in Shanghai. People gathered to mourn the victims of a deadly fire in Urumqi, Xinjiang, caused by strict COVID lockdowns. But plainclothes officers and special police showed up to stop the crowd. One plainclothes officer, when questioned by protesters, "Police should serve the people," actually said, "I just can't stand you ordinary people." Like, that one sentence really says it all. During the pandemic, this kind of unchecked power got even worse. Those Dubai, people in hazmat suits, were just ordinary folks before the pandemic, but the moment they put on that suit, they acted like they were above the law. There were cases where people got sent to quarantine camps just because they didn't like how the Dubai spoke to them. And let's be real, stuff like this almost never happened to foreigners. In Shanghai, for example, foreign residential areas were often treated with special care during the lockdowns. Regular Chinese people were frustrated about it, but what could they do? And that's just the experience of ordinary people. If you're someone trying to defend your rights or a petitioner, the way police treat you is much worse. Some foreigners might think it's strange that you don't see police everywhere in China, and assume it's not really a police state. But they miss the fact that there are cameras everywhere and a ton of plainclothes officers. During big events or protests, the crowd you think is just bystanders? A lot of them are actually plainclothes police. For example, during the white paper movement, these officers were trained to blend in and quietly separate protest leaders from the crowd before arresting them. Chinese plainclothes police have even been reported operating illegally abroad, in places like Hong Kong, South Korea, Australia, and Canada. Some of them directly arrested protesters, while others pretended to run legitimate businesses to help persuade defectors to return to China or harass exiled dissidents. So if you're a foreigner and, after knowing all this, you still judge Chinese police as great just based on your own personal experience, you're really ignoring the struggles of ordinary Chinese people. You're benefiting from a system that comes at the expense of millions of others.